Hey everybody, welcome back to Plugin Tut, your home for handcrafted WordPress plugin tutorials. And today, we'll do it. We've been doing live streams for the last couple of months, interviewing people, showing off their products, but this time it's pre-recorded. I do apologize. We weren't able to enjoy your popcorn and watch us live. Good friend of mine, number 875 in the WordPress community of Matt Cromwell. Matt, welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. It's always good for me to be able to hit up. So,
Matt hails from GiveWP, a popular plugin that I've featured here on the channel. In fact, I actually, last time I featured it on the channel, it was as an alternative to Patreon, right? Somebody who wanted to have like recurring donations or one-off donations, what have you, in place of something like a Patreon. Run those donations right on your site, right? You get them on your site, but you are more, or the GiveWP product is more well-known as, well, for driving donations for nonprofits and charitable organizations. Where are things, or how have things been for you through 2020? I'm assuming things have been pretty busy. Like a lot of people are trying to raise money right now. Give us the rundown.
yeah, absolutely. That's exactly the case. I mean, generally speaking, donations across the board are up. Anybody who we've talked with who is in the industry of fundraising, they've all said that there are definitely smaller nonprofits that have had a bit of a hit, especially ones who aren't social good oriented, foundations or artistry type of things, nonprofits. But anyone who's focused on social good organizations in any way, they've been seeing lots of donations. So it's a great testimony to the generosity of our country. And we've seen that across the board with all of our customers in general, that there's a lot going on. We do have also a lot of folks who, especially churches, who, churches have been required traditionally for a while now to do church online or just not meet at all. And a lot of them were not positioned to do online giving at all. They really depended on passing that plate around. And suddenly they had to figure out how to do stuff online. And so a lot of them did end up landing with GiveWP, which has been really nice and helpful. So yeah, we've been busy. And
I've seen a lot of small businesses just getting like super creative now on like how they make money online. I've seen them, I've seen a lot of businesses go the traditional route of maybe switching to like a digital only product or service. Certainly folks like yoga studios and fitness studios have gone virtual, and it's like pay to go into Zoom. Have you seen anything like super unique that people are using GiveWP for, out of something that's not off the shelf, out of the box GiveWP, that you're like, wow, we've never even thought about this?
Yeah, actually, there was a school that really wanted to help folks get more masks. And so they actually customized a give form to not take monetary donations, but to take items. So you would go to the form and you would say, I want to donate 10 masks. And that could be done in a lot of different ways. Either you're just donating the masks, or they also had all these times that you could come and actually make masks at the school. And so the whole fundraiser was all about how many masks they could provide to the local community around the school. And that was really unique.
Yeah, that is pretty awesome.
Another one, it's not like way out of the box, but we have seen more folks we have an add-on called upsells, donation upsells for WooCommerce. And it essentially allows you to add a tip or a donation at the checkout in your WooCommerce checkout. And we have seen folks using that more as an employee tip jar, they call it. So they're like, some of our employees are on furlough because we don't have a storefront for them anymore. So if you want to support our products, but also support our employees, throw in a tip at the checkout to help them, and all of the tips go straight to the employees. I thought that was pretty unique as well. So some good stuff.
With the political season, or the voting season happening this year, well, for the presidential candidate in the U.S., I assume, and others, you start to see an uptick of that as well, right? People using this for the political platforms. Well, probably well before now people start to use it, but I'm sure your support requests might start to add up as we get closer to the, to voting season. Any interesting outreach there, like, or technical implementations that, for a really large, high volume, high traffic site that you've seen?
Honestly, in general, when it comes to the really large campaigns, there's the big platforms in the political sphere that kind of own them, especially on the Democrat side. Act Blue really kind of like owns that space, and they really manage that a lot. So we do see political candidates in Canada using us a bit, and we do see a lot of independent politicians using us, and sometimes Republican candidates using us. But there is, I'm going to forget the name right now. There is kind of like an Act Blue type of organization that sprung up that's targeted at Republicans now. And they're kind of trying to own that space as well. So there's been some really big players there. So we see a lot more of the independents and Canadians.
Yeah. No, for sure. Before we dive into some of the exciting features that you have for the new version coming out soon, very soon, right? Like next week soon.
Yeah, we're, as soon as possible. So
one other question. So one of the other things I've been enjoying watching other WordPress people do in the community is just new opportunity, right? New freelancers coming to the game. Well, because maybe they've lost their job, unfortunately, or they just said, you know what, now's the time that I've always wanted to do that side thing of building out websites. Is there like one particular opportunity you see or you would recommend to like a WordPress freelancer who's trying to maybe break into the nonprofit space? It is fairly unique. Is there a particular vertical, category, approach that you might recommend a freelancer do to get into building more sites with GiveWP?
Yeah, I mean, I started by building sites for churches, and that was a big deal for me because, especially with churches who all of the like Christian leaders, pastors, and whatnot, they're very well connected. A lot like the WordPress space, they know each other. As soon as you start building one site, then word of mouth gets around really, really quickly. So honestly, faith-based organizations are a great way to go. But the nonprofit community in general is also pretty well connected. So if you start getting in there with a homeless shelter or anything like that, like they know each other, they talk with each other. It's the nonprofit sector in general is great with word of mouth referrals for freelancers. So I mean, I would love to see tons more folks focusing their web development efforts on the nonprofit space, because the big misnomer is that nonprofits don't have money. And I mean, I have had way more generous nonprofit owners than some storefront folks sometimes. Like it's just a misnomer. And honestly, nonprofits have to spend the money that they get in one way or another, and this is a cost that is totally legitimate and that they need to spend. So the money is there. Honestly.
Yeah, nonprofits are profitable. They just don't tell anybody at tax time. So listen, GiveWP.com is where you go to get the website. There's also GiveWP in the WordPress repo. You can get the core version for free. Just looking at GiveWP.com/pricing, we have the free plugin, of course, Basic, Plus, and Pro. The price points are $199, $299, and $399 respectively. Get the basic add-ons, you move into the premium add-ons, and then you can do premium plus 5 sites. Anything changing with the new version in terms of pricing, plans, add-ons, anything like that?
No, honestly, one of our core philosophy or our slogan from the beginning has been democratizing generosity. And we do that really by pouring a lot of value into the free plugin as much as possible. And all the things that I'm going to show today are all going straight into the free plugin. And some of them are really powerful stuff. So we love being able to support folks all over the world and see folks get these powerful new features. So
awesome.
It's all in the free plugin.
Awesome. So what are those new features that you're super excited for?
Yeah. So first one is a thing that we call form templates. Essentially, it's going to give us the ability to provide very different types of form functionality and layouts. And we're launching with one new template, which is a multi-step template, which is a type of donation form that a lot of people have asked for over the years. Essentially, one that walks you through the donation process, with starting with just name and email, and then choosing how much you want to give, and you tab through to the different steps. This is actually a really powerful feature that's going to enable us to do more like event type fundraising and crowdfunding and peer-to-peer fundraising, all kinds of different types of forms in the future, which is honestly like one of the things that folks have asked of us the most is being able to have a lot different types of forms.
Yeah.
So our forms have always been very functional and best practice oriented. But when you want to have something really, really unique and different with your forms, that can be a little bit challenging with how we've done it traditionally.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, forms is always, I mean, we say this every year, is I can't believe there's another form plugin on the market, right? Because forms are, everybody wants a different way. There's always a request, well, just change this one little thing, and there's a whole different approach to it. So yeah, that's great. The multi-step forms sounds like it's going to be a huge benefit. What else do you have?
The other big one is what we're calling per form Stripe accounts, essentially. And this essentially, when you sign up, when you install Give, you connect it with PayPal or Stripe or whatnot, and it's basically that's the account that is connected. But with per form Stripe accounts, you actually get to connect as many different Stripe accounts as you want into your settings, and then each of those can be designated in the individual form. The best use case for this is something like a national chapter, an organization that might be national that has a lot of local chapters. So like a United Way, you have United everywhere. You have the United Way website, and they can connect their Stripe account, and then United Way Minneapolis, United Way San Diego, United Way New York. They all have different Stripe accounts individually. So you just connect all of them, then each of them can have their own individual form on the main United Way website. But all the donations are going directly to those local chapters instead of the main chapter.
Yeah.
So that's a really big, powerful feature that we're excited to finally roll out.
And both of these features are going into the free, or just the?
They're both in free.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, if you want to give us a look at what that looks like, help the viewers kind of understand. This is a tutorial channel after all.
Yep. Can you see what I see?
I see what you see.
All righty. So this is our Give form screen. And right now you can see that I have the section here that's called Legacy Donation Form, and this is active. And this is essentially how we're trying to have our cake and eat it too. We want to introduce a whole new way to do donation forms, but we need to be able to make sure that what everyone has been doing with their forms in the past still works correctly in WordPress. Any WordPresser knows that that's called backwards compatibility. So how can we kind of have our cake and eat it too? We're building out our form builder to have legacy donation form support, but you can choose also our new form templates as well. So right now, if you install 2.7, you'll see your legacy form looks a bit like this. We do have some changes over here. I won't go into that in depth, but if you are starting a brand new form, what you're going to see instead on this section here is this that will inform you about form templates. And here you see the legacy form, and right here is the multi-step donation form. And once you set that as active, then you are given all of the different fields to walk through the steps. So, and all of this impacts the way that it's presented on the front end. So all of this is all configurable, really easy. You can add an upload. Actually, sidebar, I just discovered a new free plugin that I actually also really love. So here's a bonus tutorial. If you don't know about instant images.
Oh, I love instant images.
It's such a great one. So
yep.
Like I volunteer with a local organization called Refugee Tutoring. And I was really happy to see that Unsplash has some really great pictures as well. So on this form, I'm going to grab this image right here using instant images. It's in the media library. So it's pulling from the Unsplash API right now. And then as soon as that process is done, that image is here in my media library now. I just choose that. I can choose the primary color. Now, traditionally with the Give forms, the primary color only really controlled the progress bar, but we actually are using this color throughout the multi-step form quite a bit. So I'm gonna choose something crazy just to make that a little bit more obvious. So we got our donate button. We have the ability to choose how they do payment amounts right here. And there's some content that we can share to instruct them about their payment amounts. Payment information, add your information with name and all that kind of stuff. How are we going to guide them to provide that information? And then the donate now. Another unique thing about form templates is that in the past, whenever you submitted a give form, it would process the donation and then it would redirect you to a donation confirmation page. And that was a different page from your form. And you always had to have that configured right. And it was really only one donation page for every single form on your site. I actually built a free add-on called Per Form Confirmations that allowed you to have different confirmation pages per form. But now with form templates, all of that is essentially obsolete because you actually configure your thank you page, your confirmation page right here in the form. And that's a really powerful feature also because every single form can be customized. And all of that actually is going to be happening. I'll show that on the front end in just a second. But all of that actually happens in a shadow DOM, in an iframe essentially. And that really protects your form from getting corrupted by all the other plugins you have on your site or by crazy theme styles that maybe don't mesh so well. And also caching, honestly. Caching can be a big problem when it comes to e-commerce, honestly. So all of that gets protected here. So we can set our thank you page. Actually, this one is already here. I like this one for a thank you one, so we'll choose that. And the messaging is all here. Honestly, what I love too is we have what I always call smart defaults. You really don't have to configure hardly anything, and you have a pretty decent fundraising platform already. You know, all I've done so far is pick a color and some images, and you'll see already that it's really powerful. So on the thank you page, we also built in social sharing into it, which is another new feature. Basically, tell everybody, hey, I just donated to Refugee Tutoring and you should too. Enable folks to do that on Facebook and Twitter. So that's all of those settings. I'm just gonna save that and then we could take a look. I am working locally here and I have noticed, of course, we're releasing next week, but I'm gonna say big giant caveats. We'll see what happens.
Sure,
But I
sure.
have tested this a bit already. So you can see the page loading. Obviously, that it's loading in that iframe, like I mentioned. So yep. There's our featured image. There's our big, strong color that I chose. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. And you can see, I mean, we're on a single page, like Give always is. But of course, we have options to be able to embed that on a post or a page or in a sidebar, all that kind of thing as well. But you'll see here, we have secure donation because I'm on HTTPS locally at the moment. Thanks to Local by Flywheel. Good job, guys. Here we go, donate now. And we have our amounts that we can choose from, really bold and clear. When we showed previews of this to our Facebook community, they were all about it. They really loved it. So this is a very unique style, different from our traditional forms in the past. And of course, you can choose your own amount. Right now, we are not enabling cents on this one, so it's only full dollars or full amounts right now. But we'll have to see how folks respond to that overall. And then I'm still in test mode here, so this is showing up, and now we can fill in our information. I'm logged in, so it's already pre-populated for me. And you can see, like always, that we have multiple payment gateway options, like we always have. So we can do PayPal, and when you do PayPal, of course, that's gonna bump you to another page. But we try to provide this information here so that the donor has their expectations set. You know, we have offline donations like always, and then and those provide information as well. And then this one down here is Stripe, which I believe, yeah, this is the inline credit card fields that Stripe offers, which I think look really, really slick. Definitely is like the smallest amount of information that you can provide for credit card payments. It's a good way to go. And of course, it also supports, you know, having your cards saved. Chrome saves those cards for you, and that will be populated automatically. This often can be populated through your phone too. For these purposes, I'm just going to do the test donation gateway, which is basically just a fake donation. So, and this is the part where I noticed locally, this actually normally often takes a bit longer than I would like, but let's see.
Question on the, a couple questions on that payment. When it's on mobile, does somebody have the choice to pay with like Apple Pay and like other mobile payment, you know, like fingerprint? So I think Samsung has one. Maybe Google has one too. Like, is that, or is that, are those add-ons in the Pro features?
Actually, we have support for Apple Pay and Google Pay through Stripe primarily.
Gotcha.
And in the free, we have Stripe in the free plugin, but we also have a Stripe add-on that has more features. So in Stripe free, it doesn't support Apple Pay and Google Pay in the form itself, but we do have Stripe Checkout 2.0 in the free plugin. And that essentially what that does, especially on mobile, if you click on Stripe checkout, it fills up the whole screen immediately. You almost don't even notice that you went to another page, but it fills up the whole screen, and you can have Apple Pay and Google Pay enabled on that Stripe checkout. So that is kind of one way in which you can do that in the free plugin. The Pro plugin, the Stripe add-on, it supports Google Pay and Apple Pay directly in the form itself. We also have two new European gateways coming out, and I'm always having a hard time with their acronyms. I think it's SPEX and SEPA are what they're called. Those are also through Stripe. So those are coming, those are out already as well and available. So, but here's our big thank you page, a great big thank you. Here's all your information, and here's our social sharing right here, and here's your donation details and all of the relevant information. So we also, of course, we have an add-on called PDF Receipts, which enables you to have a big download button right here to download your PDF your receipt as a PDF. But all of this is emailed to the donor automatically as well. And of course, this page is also able to be printed out. So that's a really quick overview of form templates.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it looks super efficient. I like that now that they can customize it a little bit further. And yeah, man, no complexity, right? That's just like, you know, take all of that out. And I think I'd imagine that most people are doing things on not just a shoestring budget, but a shoestring staff, right? And not everyone's going to be this technical site builder, you know, power user. And if GiveWP can make it a lot easier for them, then you know, the more it's going to enable them to get some donations, right? Keep them afloat.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, we do have all these options as well. Each individual form can be customized a lot. So all these things work as well. Minimum and maximum donation amount, custom amount. You can set all your levels here. I like to emphasize how you can just lean on our smart defaults and you have a great form out of the box. But everyone likes to customize it exactly the way they want to as well. So those are all available. Oh, the donation goal is another one. So those are all continue to be available. So
good stuff. And now there's also some new reporting, right?
We have had in 2.6, we released a really big reports dashboard. This is right here, and we love this. Honestly, I don't have a ton of donations in this local install. So
yeah, sure.
We really love when we release this because it just gives nonprofits such actionable insight right at a glance. with really powerful and really slick looking graphs and charts. You know, in e-commerce, especially in WordPress, this type of reporting kind of has been lackluster for a long time. And WooCommerce recently did a big revamp of their admin area, which was a big deal. I'm sure you talked about that on the podcast a bit. But we're really proud of the way we did it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, that looks great.
the thing that we're improving here is basically allowing these reports to have a currency toggle. So all of this came out in 2.6, but the currency toggle is new. So we promised when we brought out the new reports that they would continue to be improved upon, and this is just our first iteration of that. So a lot of different organizations take donations in a lot of different currencies, and if you lump dollars with euros and everything in one chart, it doesn't make sense at all. So,
Right.
yeah. So the toggle is a big deal for them. We're excited about that. The last big feature is the per form Stripe accounts. And honestly, there's not a whole lot to show, which is kind of great, but I'll just highlight where that's at. So we've always had our payment gateway settings over here, and we come over to Stripe. And in the past, you would simply have this connect with Stripe button right here. And now you basically have this whole section where you can continue to add more and more accounts. And you can see I've already connected 2 different accounts here. I connected my own Stripe account, and I connected Refugee Tutoring here as well. And all of it is just the same as clicking the Connect with Stripe button. That takes you to Stripe, and it asks you to authorize it. And once it's authorized, it comes back in here, and this is all, and this it gets added there. And then over in the form is where you get to choose which account you want to have connected to that form. So I believe I had the default over here. So you'll see we have a Stripe account setting right here. Right now it's just inheriting the default. So you could change your default, of course. I think I just had my Matt Cromwell one as the default there. But for this form, let's say we want it instead to be Refugee Tutoring. Boom, just like that. If you want to connect another Stripe account, this button right here is going to take you all the way back over to those settings.
Gotcha.
All of that accounts need to be configured over at the settings area. So, and then you just hit update, and now this form's Refugee Tutoring powered and not Matt Cromwell powered.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that being, especially somebody who wanted to mobilize like a central donation site for their local area for anybody, right? I mean, anyone who has a Stripe account, maybe they help, maybe a consultant out there or somebody who's willing to help other nonprofits that have, no web presence at all, or maybe it's just forgotten so long that they can't even touch it anymore to do anything with. I mean, somebody could build a centralized site for a bunch of charities or nonprofits to get these donations in one place, right? And then you just have this one person managing this, and heck, they can do it for free,
Yeah.
which is even crazier, right? So
yeah.
That's awesome stuff.
I mean, the grand view is at one point, we're going to enable folks to basically like fill out a registration form on the front end, and that'll be like a pending request. And then when the admin approves that request, you'll get an email with a special link that goes back to the website, and then you'll be able to connect your Stripe account from the front end. And essentially, if you're able to do that on your WordPress website, it's kind of like having your own little hosted GoFundMe in many ways.
Yeah.
You're empowering people to be able to fundraise on your website.
Yeah.
So right now it's really admin driven. So you have to be able to give people the right amount of privileges to go into those settings areas and connect those. That's why out of the box, this is more of like a large organization feature for national chapters or whatnot, or maybe a church that has multiple satellite locations, things like that. But we're really excited about this feature and what it could mean in the long run, for sure.
Yeah, man, everything looks great. I'm excited to see you guys roll this out next week. It is I don't even know what the date is today, so it's June 26th, and hopefully definitely by 4th of July, right, baby?
For sure.
Okay.
For sure. I'm gonna say for sure, even though we never try to say for sure. But
yeah,
it was for sure gonna be this last Wednesday, but.
But you wanted to do the show first.
Yeah, I just put it off just for you, just for this.
It's
We're really planning on Monday or Tuesday. So
awesome stuff. So he's Matt Cromwell. He's from GiveWP. It's GiveWP.com. Matt, where else can folks find you to say thanks?
I'm on Twitter at Learn with Matt C, and I got my own website, mattcromwell.com. And don't follow me on Facebook. It's not fun over there.
There's no fun. There's no fun on Facebook ever. Plugintut.com, plugintut.com/subscribe to join that mailing list. Thumbs up if you like today's video. Subscribe to the channel if you want more. All right. We'll see you in the next
Thanks.
video.